Now with chapter 4.4 we are getting really exciting here. This is where a lot of people get confused. And a few people, not many, a few people get really excited about this. So, what is the unspoken rule of fractions again? Always, always, always reduce, even if you're not told to. Also remember that a whole number is a fraction over 1, so 2 can be rewritten as 2 over 1. Adding and subtracting fractions with the same denominator goes in this form: a over b plus c over b. Notice these are the same, and notice it only comes over one time. And then you take the a plus the c, so you add the numerators and leave the denominator as it is. And that's only if the denominators are already the same. Now, same thing applies for the subtraction. So a minus c and leave b what it is, provided b is not equal to 0, because we're not allowed to divide by 0, at least until we get to calculus. So every math teacher has lied to you up to this point, saying you can never divide by 0, but when you get to calculus you can. That's just some free information for you for down the road. Now, reduce as needed. Rule: you must have the same or common denominator, same number in the denominator. And notice that b came over only one time. It's never doubled. Also, some review before we get into the actual problem. When you have minus in the middle, you use leave it, change it, and you get 7 plus a positive 3, which is positive 10. And then remember here, when you're adding them, if they have the same sign, you keep the sign and you add your numbers. Problem? These are not the same. Okay? If they're not the same, then you have to subtract these two numbers, or you could rewrite it this way as 7 minus 4, okay? Which gives us positive 3. So we had to subtract, and the sign of our bigger number is positive, so it becomes a positive 3. Now, applying this, our denominator here is 7. We bring it over one time, and then we take 5 plus 2, which gives us 7 over 7. Am I done yet? If you said no, you're right, because 7 divided by 7 is 1. Now here, our denominator is 9, and again, box in your answers, by the way. And then we say 5x minus 4. How do we subtract those? This has an x and this doesn't. So it's kind of like coats and candy bars. If you put the two together, you ruin them both. And if it's a job, then you lose your job and nobody's happy. So in this case, this looks like a really ugly problem, and it looks like there should be something else you can do, but there isn't. So QIYD. Quit, idiot, you're done. And yes, I've used that saying a couple of other times, and I'll just go ahead and tell you, one of my favorite teachers used that, and I stole it from him. So I'm not calling you an idiot. I'm just trying to be funny. So, anyways, here I've already kind of started you here. 7 minus 2 over your denominator 11, and 7 minus 2 is 5 over 11. And again, box in your answers. Alright? Plus and minus is really the same thing as just minus. So I get 6z minus 1z over 10, and that gives me 5z's over 10, but both of these are divisible by 5, so that goes into there once and then here twice, so this becomes z over 2. If you have questions, just ask. This is really not a bad problem, I promise you. Your denominator is 8w. Okay, and I accidentally left that answer in there. And 7 plus 10 is 17. 17 and 8 don't clean up, and a number divided by w doesn't clean up, so we are done at that answer. It doesn't look pretty, but it's still our answer. Now evaluate y minus x and x plus y when x is -3/10 and y is -8/10. So y comes first, -8 over 10, and this says minus, and x is -10 over, or -3 over 10. Leave it, change it, change it. So -8 over 10 plus a +3 over 10. Alright, so it gives us -8 plus 3 over 10. And if you have a -8 plus 3, they're opposite signs, so you subtract them. The sign of the bigger number is negative over 10, and then 5 goes into 5 once and into 10 twice, so this becomes -1/2. And I know I've kind of skipped all over the page, and some teachers would absolutely have a conniption if you do that, so be careful about the teacher you're showing your work for. Now, part B, and this was starting from y minus x. Now we're going to start from x plus y. So x is -3/10 plus y, which is -8/10. Now, negative plus a negative becomes a bigger negative. So 3 plus 8 is 11. And we keep the denominator as the denominator. And I cannot clean up this, and I know I could write it as a mixed number, but I promise you, my math lab, if it starts as a fraction, you end it as a fraction, unless told otherwise.